Sky howdy, and welcome back to another episode of World Bigfoot Radio. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I've got a little mini video that's coming out that I would like all of you to take a look at because the algorithms on YouTube have once again changed, and they're really trying to crush the smaller content creators in favor of the giant corporate monsters that are swarming over here to YouTube because, well, we're too much competition for them, apparently. Huh. So, yeah, it's really bad news, and I'm going to need all of your help in order to keep the channel going. So, for more notes and tips and all that on that sort of thing, check out that video. Just the short version right now. It's all about interaction. So, you always need to click the like button. You always need to leave a comment, not just in the live chat room, but after the fact. Leave a comment. That helps drive the algorithms. Apparently, since I have a live chat room, it really favors the first during the time the show is being broadcast and an hour afterwards. And if I don't get a lot of views during that time period, it will not promote it. So you folks that are going like, oh, I don't have to catch it now, I'll watch it tomorrow, you're helping destroy the channel. So please be there for the show, and don't forget to click the like and leave a comment afterwards. Also, they are not sending out subscriptions to my subscribers, apparently, because, I'm, according to my guesstimates, getting about like 3% are actually getting notified. So they're showing up for the show because otherwise they don't even know what's happening. Some people show up and go, hey, it's great to see you on again. And I'm like, I've been on every week. You're just relying on YouTube to notify you. You don't need them to notify you. My show is on the same day and the same time every week, Sunday at 8. You can set your clock by it. It's just like an old-fashioned TV show. It's on the same day, same time. So if you get a notification or not, just go turn it on at 8, and the show will be on, and you won't miss any of it. And that will really, really help keep things going right now because they're just trying to algorithmically destroy this channel. And without your help, I cannot save it. So with all of that sort of thing, let's get back to what's going on here this week. And once again, we are blessed to have the amazing, redoubtable, and inimitable MK Davis on the show. And we're going to be discussing two really interesting pieces of cryptid video and pictures that MK has had a chance to do really close look at and break down already. So welcome to the show, MK.
Well, thank you for having me on, Duke. I look forward to it.
So the first thing we're going to cover tonight is over in what Northwest Louisiana, the DeRitter Road carcass, devil monkey, a roadkill devil monkey. This is just one of the most peculiar pictures. And this all happened, what, about a decade ago?
The 90s.
Oh, so longer than that.
Mid-90s, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of old now, but still unsolved.
Yep. Here's a picture. You guys can look at it while we're talking. This is what we're talking about. And this wasn't just like one person saw it and filmed it. There was several people that stopped and looked at this damn thing.
Oh, yeah. They had a kind of a crowd there. So I don't know who eventually carried it off, the county or somebody. But those people are very familiar with their wildlife. They all knew it was something different, and no one knew what it was. So it became kind of a thing there, and it got the name tagged onto it, the DeRitter Roadkill. But if you go up that highway, there's several little towns, and it said it was on Highway 12. If you look at a map, that puts it more like closer to a town called DeQuincy. DeQuincy, they're all kind of in a cluster, but DeQuincy is a little north of DeRitter, and so it was actually called the DeQuincy Roadkill at one time, and then it kind of went back to DeRitter. I don't know how those things work, but maybe DeRitter needed the attention more or something. I don't know.
DeQuincy didn't want to admit it, and DeRitter said, "Oh, we'll have an annual festival. Let us claim it happened here."
DeRitter, it's a strange town anyway. It's got a lot of its reputation for strangeness. I found out the other day that Freddy Krueger was buried in DeRitter.
So are there a lot of people in DeRitter dying in their sleep now?
I don't know. I'm a little uncertain about whether it was the movie Freddy Krueger, like the actor, or whether it was someone named Freddy Krueger or someone who was like Freddy Krueger.
Somebody they patterned after for the movie Monster, maybe?
Yeah, maybe so. It happens, That's just one more thing. Then they had this big event that took place, 10,000? No, actually, it was 7,000 years ago. It was at the 12,800 years ago. I finally got it straight in my head. It's at the same time as the Younger Dryas
Right.
die off.
When something hit the Greenland ice shelf, melted most of it, caused massive deluge, flooded Dogger land, buried that under the ocean. Bunch of other massive disasters, including potentially Atlantis. That one?
Well, we know that it involved, at least in the DeRitter area, it involved plasma from space that made contact with the Earth right outside DeRitter, a little south of DeRitter, at a community called Perkins. And it left a scar on the Earth, and that was a puzzle for a long time until finally they got the puzzle solved. And these people that own the land, they didn't give up on it. They kept finding strange artifacts in there. And it was like a big slough, and it was kind of oddly shaped, and it had a little berm, like a crater, like an impact, but not what it should have had if it were an impact. And finally, the scientists, they got soil samples, and they were able to determine that it was plasma event. So it gives you a little bit of idea what the Younger Dryas might have been, because it involved heat sufficient to melt the ice caps and cause a big, huge, steep rise in the ocean, 400 feet, just a short period of time. And the weather was so outrageous that it killed off a whole bunch of animals and people too. Uh, so that's all right there in southwest Louisiana.
Yep.
They found these melted globules of stone, melted stone, and then what they call a spherule. It's microscopic. You look at it with a microscope, and it's little round balls of melted rock.
Hmm.
So it almost has to. It's like a prill. It almost has to fall through the atmosphere to make those. Let the wind blow on it, and that's how they make fertilizer. The prilled fertilizer. They let it fall through a tower, and they'll blow air in underneath, and it just rolls them around in that current of air, and they come out the bottom down there, little round spherules.
It sounds like the plasma strike actually blew a chunk out of the ground, threw it up into the air, and then it cooled as it fell again.
Right. It was a bad disturbance. There was
I wouldn't want to be anywhere near an explosion with that kind of heat. No.
So I think scientists they admire them in a lot of ways because they don't give up easy. They're as hard headed as I am, I'm sure, and so they just keep on looking. And it just was an unusually dry year, and they got a backhoe and dug a big long trench where it normally was water. And they found these pipes down in there. They were round pipes, and the landowner went down in there. They were made of stone, and they were all sticking straight up. And you could see inside the pipe there was just dirt, and outside the pipe it was dirt. And when you cleaned them up, you could pump water through them. And he got down there with a chainsaw and sawed him one off. So they studied that thing, and they were able to explain it finally. So I went down there. Imagine that.
No. You?
Yeah, me. I went down there, and my wife and I both went, and the dog, and we went on what's called a recon, just looking it over. And I found Perkins and went out into east of Perkins where the hole was supposed to be, and everything's fenced off. And so I go around, and finally I make my way around, and I'm on the far, around the eastern side of the fence, and I come upon this building, this big complex of buildings, and it has a sign on there very eerily similar to Area 51 in the way that it kind of warns you, you know. This is a restricted area. Keep out of here. Don't come in. And behind that was the plasma site.
Right.
Yeah, so they considered it important enough to build on-site stuff there, like testing stuff, laboratory stuff.
So everything's normal. Nothing to see here. Keep moving along.
Right. Just keep moving. There's nothing here to see. But the people going to work there, they have to go through what the little regimen they put you through. You probably have to have IDs and all kinds of stuff,
and security clearances.
Yeah. What was it that they required all of that?
One's got to wonder if it's just some old plasma strike from 12,800 years ago. What's the big deal?
Yeah, but then you got this weird animal that nobody'd ever seen one like it. And it got accident. I wonder if it escaped from there.
Yeah. Well, it sure does look like the devil monkey, and there's reports of those things going back to the earliest settlers up in the Appalachians running into these things. And I even heard a story from an old guy who's around 100 years old now, if he's even alive, was talking about when he was a little kid, 4 or 5 years old, his grandpa was making a big fuss about one of the neighbors had shot a devil monkey. And they thought they had killed them all off a long time ago. So he didn't believe it. So him and his grandkid went over to the neighbor's house to see this, and sure enough, the neighbor had a devil monkey he had shot, and they all looked at it and went, "Yep, that's a devil monkey. Holy cow! I thought we had gotten rid of all of them." So like these people knew these things were around. They were actively trying to get rid of them.
Well, it's the same thing happened up there, and I think it was Washington State, 1924. You remember when the miners got attacked in what they call now Ape Canyon?
Yep.
Well, a little while after that occurred, they had a article in the paper, and it was written by a local Indian chief, and he was talking about, yeah, we used to have those big giants like that all the time. And he said it's a big, huge, giant Indian, and he says we thought they were all gone. He said the same thing, exact same thing.
No, they just got better at hiding.
And there they were attacked by like 8 or 10 of them, probably.
Yeah.
So they weren't all gone. And they were giants. Everything matched their description. Except that they considered them to be apes.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, how many times have we seen that little confusion crop up, and amongst witnesses and things. But the Indians say that they used to talk to them. They used to, they would meet and talk and trade goods and stuff. But they hadn't. He said he hadn't seen one. I don't think he'd ever seen one. But the other people had. They had died off. They thought they were, quote, gone.
Yeah.
But apparently that was a wrong conclusion.
I think
they just didn't run into them anymore.
Right. Generally, the tribes that actually had any kind of interaction with them, they'd have like not necessarily a shaman, but one of the people in the tribe whose job it was to know enough of their language and their sign language to communicate with them. If the tribe had, issues that they needed to communicate with them, or if they wanted to actually trade with them on something. And I often wonder what happens when that person dies. Because if they die unexpectedly and they haven't had their replacement already there training them and whatnot, why would the Bigfoot trust this new guy or have anything to do with them? And that may be how they lost contact in some cases.
Well, they spoke a language called, I think it was a Salish language called Clallam.
Mm-hmm.
And the Clallam language had fallen into disuse. And I think there, at the time that this article was written, I don't think there were about 6 or 8 people that even knew how to speak it. But that was the language that they used to communicate with these giant. They call them Indians. But,
yeah.
If they were Indians, they weren't normal Indians.
Giant Indians that don't get cold and don't need clothes.
Right. That's my point. People tend to gravitate toward the simplest explanation. It's the easiest.
Well, one would think that the natives would have a much better grasp on what it is that's been living in their woods for hundreds and thousands of years than somebody new to the continent. So if they tell you they're actually just giant Indians and they're a kind of people, why wouldn't you believe them?
I don't know. Let me look here. I've got a little write-up on that. Hold on.
Well, while you're looking for that, have there been any subsequent sightings of the devil monkey down in the DeRidder area since the roadkill?
I'm always got my eyes and my ears open, but I'm not aware of it. I'm having some computer problems here, so I'm going to just skip this.
Well, we do know that there are sightings of them in other locations. Both of us know William Lunsford, the king of the camera traps down there in Falk, Arkansas, and other regions nearby. And he has actually run into these things before. He's found their tracks. So as far as he's concerned, they live down there in the area where he's at too.
Devil monkey. Now I've read some stuff about it. I think Lauren Coleman had something about the devil monkeys in one of his books.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had some people seen devil monkeys up in Indiana, down in Georgia.
The one that creeped me out is apparently that they're known, and there's reports of them in coastal Alaska.
Yeah, you could see the teeth in this thing's mouth. You know, I wouldn't want to get bit by him. I can tell you that.
And he's not little either. You pointed this out in your exceptionally detailed breakdown on this, and you guys go over to Greenwave 2010 FB, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, go over there and watch the video that he just did on the DeRitter roadkill, which will give you a lot more background information on this and what we're going to get into tonight. And, of course, MK needs the views, so get over there.
All right. Thank you for the plug.
Yep. Yeah, like, you know, he gets way more views than I do. That's kind of the joke here. But go check out his videos. He's recently been turning out some really cool ones. And, yeah, again, the devil monkey thing is just not just limited to this area where apparently somebody smacked him with a car and squished it. But there's reports of them in other parts of the country, too. So, they're not like universally around areas and stuff. We just hear reports from certain areas where they pop up, and then the rest of the country doesn't seem to be any, or at least nobody's ever seeing them or running into them.
Well, you know, in that area, it's rural Louisiana, right across the state line from what do you call that? The East Texas. I think they got a name for that. The group of woods that go all the way up. I forgot what they called it.
The neutral zone?
Maybe. The brush or the sticks or something like that.
Big thicket or something?
Big thicket, yeah. And
yeah.
So they have the territory for it, is what I'm saying. But these people stay in the woods. I mean, hunt season especially. And nobody knew what this thing was. So where or how it got to be there, in that place where it got hit, I don't know.
Makes you wonder if it wandered in from somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what makes me wonder, especially that connection with the Younger Dryas and some big earth disaster, and then the government. You mix them all together, and you got an animal that's there nobody's ever seen. Well,
not locally anyway.
The ingredients are there.
Yep. And we should get on to the fact that the next one that we're going to is just a little west of where this is, over the border in the Lone Star and great state of Texas. Again, big thicket area. And we're talking like, 200 miles away? Not even. And there's basically a river that goes in between the two places.
This river connects. Actually, it goes very close. It starts right there it's a tributary of the Mississippi. And right across from like Natchez, Mississippi, where the very first Bigfoot report was ever given on record. And then it goes all the way up through Louisiana and on into Texas, and the big thicket crosses the big thicket, and it's not very far from DeRitter back behind there, and all those other places. You know, it just makes a highway of travel into these foreboding places.
I wonder how close does that go to William Lunsford's research area?
That would be in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty close.
That's what I would think. So this is a like creepy, super cryptid, super highway thing going on here.
Yeah, it goes not very far away from where those East Texas videos were shot. You know, where with the mountain giant, uh, those videos and the fence climber, not very far.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you could probably take off running and get there before noon. You know,
Okay, that's creepy, especially if you're that mountain giant. You could get there way before noon.
and there's lots of creeks that tributaries into it. Uh, so there's lots of places to go off and wander off and be in this place and that place. So it's that river is called the Red River. And I
Hmm.
know most people have heard of it. And there's probably more than one Red River.
Right.
Uh, this river was it's big enough for it had some major travel in it at one time. With steamboats and stuff. Not so much anymore.
But nonetheless, as the Legend of Boggy Creek pointed out years ago, everybody knows the mantra at this point. They always follow the creeks. They weren't kidding. They're right about that.
Yeah.
So we get way over here into West Texas, and now we're going to talk about, if you guys, again, watched MK's channel, you've probably seen this, but there was a habituation area there, and they had discovered that they could have cameras on this area all the time as long as they put a rearview mirror up on the side of their house. The Bigfoot couldn't see the camera, but they could film in the reflection of this rearview mirror. It wouldn't disturb them. And they caught them doing all kinds of things. They had, for some reason, there were some tires that these Bigfoot like to play with, and they were interacting with them by like messing around with them. At one point, they chained all the tires together around the base of a tree, and the Bigfoot yanked the tires all the way up to the top of the tree and ripped all the branches off to get the tires on a chain. And then they were gone for a couple of days. And then they brought them back again for some reason. And all kinds of weird stuff going on.
That tree, by the way, was what you call a. Some people call it a bodock or boydiarch. It's a horse apple tree. If you've ever heard of horse apples,
Yeah.
And the wood is so strong and dense that people that used to cut pulpwood and logs, they cut a bodock tree or a boydiarch tree, and it would make sparks when they cut it with a chainsaw.
Ironwood.
You break one of those trees, you have really done a physical feat.
Yeah. It's like steel, basically. So they're ridiculously strong to break anything off this.
And so they kept at it, and I remember watching it. It happened at night where they finally broke it, but this one ran at it and held his arm out like that and just caught one of those big limbs right as it come off the trunk, and like you could hear that tree pop. Pow! He took it down.
Clotheslined it.
Yep, pull the chain off of the stump, and made off with the tires.
Well, they really wanted those tires for some damn reason.
There's something about them. Just these guys were very astute about watching for things that they reacted to. That's why I don't really call them habituators as much as I do the provocateurs.
Yeah.
They try to get them to do something.
Right.
It may not have been fun and games. It may have been something that made them mad. And the tires, evidently, the possession of those tires became an obsession for the Bigfoot, and a weakness, because they would show themselves to get to the tires. It's like a big game.
Exactly. Well, this is kind of similar to what's going on with William Lunsford down there and all his camera traps. It's a big game. They know that he's trying to get a picture of them, but they still want to get that Snicker bar. and they try and outwit him and get the Snicker bar without getting their picture taken. So they like, these challenges and stuff. And apparently that's probably part of what the attraction for this thing was, that there was interaction going on. And, oh, you think we can't get these tires? Watch this, hold my beer.
The Snicker bars were, these guys, of course, they were quite a few years ago now, but they had discovered that candy bars were a real attraction. They tried to put loaves of bread. They put a loaf of bread. What they did was to nail up 5-gallon buckets on a tree about the 8-foot level,
Right.
and where other animals could get it. And then they put a loaf of bread in there, and I've got a video where it finds the bread, and it was expecting a candy bar.
Didn't want the bread.
You could tell it didn't like it. It kind of grunted, through there.
Well, now that you mentioned it, you got to try and find that video and send it over to me.
Oh, I will. I've got it.
That's hilarious. I didn't remember that one.
I wasn't sure at first what I was seeing, because the bread went flying. I said, what is that? Is that a loaf of bread? And I got a hold to the guys that were, they're still around, except one has passed away. And he said it was a loaf of bread.
Who the hell gave us this damn bread? We want a candy bar. What is this?
Bad choice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that goes back to the real life events, and I mean, if you were hoaxing the whole thing, what would no one would think to create a hoax within a hoax,
Right.
to have a feeding bucket and all that, and food they didn't like.
Right.
They were as surprised that he threw that bread as anybody. Researchers.
So, first part of the show, we were just talking about the DeRitter Devil Monkey Roadkill. That was in the 90s. When was this recorded?
This was early 2000s.
Okay, so about 20 years ago. Newer.
A little newer, yeah, a little newer, but there were still some of the same descriptions. Some of them, the lady told me that owned the farm, that some of them looked like a human in the face, and others looked like a simian, had a simian look. Maybe one of those might look like a devil monkey or something in the right conditions or something.
They're too little.
Yeah, too little.
And they don't have tails.
Well, these didn't have tails. I mean, I got one that went up in a tree and got silhouetted by the sun going down.
Yeah.
It looked like a little monkey of some kind. It wasn't very big. It went up to the top of the tree, got it swinging, and started hollering. And I went back to that same tree. This was probably 12 years later. And the tree hadn't grown hardly any at all. It was just a little cedar tree. And I couldn't climb up it. It would pull it down.
Right.
That's how small it was.
Baby.
And it comes off. It comes off the tree, jumps down to the ground while it's still quite high up on the tree, and then it scoots along the ground. And I have that too on video. I was able to brighten it up and. He hops along the ground like a frog. Yeah.
Now, at this point, we've got several videos of little Sasquatch playing in treetops. There's that one over in New York, and there's another one too, where the one in New York, they didn't even know anything was going on. They were just having a campfire party, filming somebody blabbing about something irrelevant. And if you look back behind him over his head, there's what looks like a squatchlet, doing some kind of an aerial routine that you would see at a Barnum and Bailey show where he's jumping from branch to branch and swinging himself around and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, well, there's no monkeys in New York. What was that? It didn't have a tail. So this kind of stuff has happened. But getting back to the main one that we're talking on right now, the tire fight preceded the appearance of the mountain giant. You've got a large white Bigfoot and a large dark colored Bigfoot, and they're both right in front of the barn, and they got the big pile of tires, and they're pushing each other back and forth, apparently trying to, get the tires away from the other one. And it's important to point out the height of the door of the barn, which is open, and you can see where the top of it is. And MK's been there.
Yeah, I was running about 9 feet.
Yeah, so this gives you a good idea on the scale of the two combatants engaged in the tire fight. They're really big. These aren't humans in a suit. And then they are completely dwarfed when they're chased away and by the sudden appearance of this mountain giant that comes out and comes strolling around. They beat it. They ran the hell out of there as soon as he showed up.
They didn't even bother to get up on their 2 legs.
Yeah, they went 4-wheel drive because it's faster.
4-wheel drive, both of them.
And zoom, yeah. A second ago they were busy fighting, and all of a sudden they're buddies and they're running the same direction as fast as they can go.
Well, those researchers deserve a lot of credit for figuring out what could get these. They slowly brought these tires from way back in the back of the place over time, and brought them up close to the garden,
Right.
where all that took place. So that took work and time away from their families and stuff to go up there and do that. They're looking to be some more exhaustive look into the whole entire adventure pretty soon. It's being worked on.
Right on. Yeah, that'll be totally worth it because they were actually documenting this stuff for quite a long time, and they got a lot of interesting things while they were doing this.
If you can imagine looking at videos that were left running, these were not game cams that came on.
God.
They were just video cameras left running.
Yeah.
And you having to stare at the same scene for hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, go for 6, I think.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a Bigfoot shows up, they do something, and they're gone.
Yeah.
And if you don't stand there and stare at it, you'll miss it.
It's amazing that they managed to. Well, it's not so amazing they managed to catch it. It's just amazing that they had the patience to actually go through all this video all the time to look for anything that was happening. Like, oh my God, that's got to be. It's ridiculously time consuming.
Well, I can see that. Maybe if the same people had been out there at DeRitter.
Right.
And they had maybe a couple of people say, we saw this weird animal. And they said, well, I want to come over and look at it. And they had the same methods in their minds to use. And maybe it took them a month or so before they finally started getting them on video. But I could see it, even on a rare animal, if you got the right person and the right equipment.
Right.
You could get him eventually some kind of way. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of patience and fortitude going through all that. But apparently it paid off. And, I should mention that Kevin Lang, rest in peace, from the Glag saga, at one point actually got to meet MK at a conference and told him that he thought that video with the mountain giant in it was just pretty much the coolest thing ever. He really loved that video. And he said when he mentioned it to you and called it a mountain giant, he said, what'd you call it? I've never heard anybody call it that. And he said, well, yeah, it was a mountain giant.
Well, actually, no one really called that thing anything. I mean, that's why I named it Tall Paul.
Yeah.
Especially after I went out there and stood in the same place. I would have been looking up at him like this.
Tall's a bit of an understatement on him. Now, you were there, so you know the scale of that barn that he walked past, and you can see pretty much how tall he is in relation to it. And what do you estimate his height at?
Minimum 12 feet, but it's probably taller.
I'd say way taller than 12 feet. He's probably more like 15.
Yeah, I don't. I won't argue with that. He was a big one.
Well, if you're
He was not only big in size, he was big in his attitude.
Mhm.
He walked out there with no fear at all of those other two,
No,
and like shoot them away, like they scared to death of it.
well, look at how big he is compared to him. He could just boot him out of the way if he felt like it. And keeping in mind you've got that open door on the barn that you measured at 8 feet. Well, when he walks past that barn, how many doors tall is he? Probably two, at least.
That I have actually featured once before. But after having acquired a higher resolution version of this video, and then having the video explained to me by one of the people who took the video, it sort of took on added meaning. I want to refeature this. Let me see if I can get a good distance away. I'm trying to get the very best image of it, and I've tried a number of things. If you lose some of it in the process of rendering, it's very important not to lose any, because you want to be able to understand visually what you're looking at. Pay particular attention to this red building right here. Okay? And this opening here, you've got a doorway there. Now this is, you've probably seen this scene before, and it's a garden, and this is an area where Sasquatch have been taken care of. They've been fed, and they've been this place has been made like a haven for them over a period of time, and like one of my other videos that I posted recently, the researchers here would try various things to try to elicit a response, from them, so that they could get them on film or video. And one of them was to put stacks of tires, and chain them up and put them up there in various places, and try to get them to come out to the tires. And they did do this. What you're looking into a mirror, and the mirror setup is there because they realized that these things had some kind of understanding of what a camera did, at least to some extent, and they wouldn't do much in front of the cameras. They wouldn't show up. They would always stay to the side or behind. So they began to film into mirrors, and in doing so, they began to catch things like this right here. And what I'm going to do is just rock it back and forth, and this really surprised me. Take a look at this. Let me see if I can get this camera where it won't have these lines, and that's not an easy thing to do. Alright, let's try this. Here we go. Watch this opening right here, and you'll see two individuals actually having an altercation over this set of tires. Pushing and shoving, a white one and a dark one. They're leaning against one another pretty heavy and pushing and shoving. Now I'm making them rock back and forth, but the actual fact of the matter is the black one or the dark one got the best of the white one and just shoved him backwards completely to the out of the field of view. But I want to rock it back and forth just a little bit to let you see the physics here involved. And these two guys are going at it, and the sound itself, the camera is a good ways away, and it's also pointed the opposite direction, so I can hear the sound when I amplify it, but it would need a lot of filtration to isolate it. But just look at these guys go at it. I'll kind of move this camera around, try to get a little closer. Okay, we got like bad lines right there. Okay, back up a little bit. Whoa. Starts out there, right there in that doorway. But you know, this is what happens, and this is what's so astounding to me. They go out of the field of view. Okay, and I'm going to continue running the video forward. And then all of a sudden you see them show back up again. And they're both running away. Now this is them right here running away. I'm rocking them back and forth. Both together are running away out of the field of view between this building. They're gone. And watch who steps out. This fellow. I mean, this guy is gargantuan. He's huge. And I'm going to go let you see just how it gets a little better right in here. Look at the height of this fellow. Oh, now, I realized that this guy was in one of the other videos, but I didn't know what was going on behind him until I got something of a little higher resolution where I could see it myself. And just a few percentage of increase in resolution makes a big difference in what you see. But this guy right here is just unbelievably tall. I've stood there. I'm not anything compared to this guy. I mean, he's big. And that's what those two, he broke that up. Whatever was happening between those other two, when he walked onto the scene, they took off running. Let's go back and we'll just back him up. Let's back him up again. Back up over there, and you'll see where he steps into the scene. There he is, right there. And we're going to back him on up. Here's those two little small ones. See them coming back from around the bush? And I call them small, they're huge. But they're nothing compared to that guy. Okay, now we're going to go back into the altercation part. Here they go. These guys are not small. I mean, look at the doorway there. And they're pushing and shoving. I mean, leaning 45 degrees, that black one is, against that white one. And he shoves him hard and shoves him straight back out of the field of view. And then they both take off running, and here comes the big one. Look at the size of that guy. Oh, well, I lost the cursor. Here it is. I'll make him kind of turn around and move that leg. You know, if this was a hoax, it was a heck of a hoax. It would require 3 different suits, one of which is white. Have to have a whole cast of characters, and one that would be as tall as 2 people standing on each other's shoulders. I think not. I thought you might like to see this. You know, to me it was outstanding. It's the result of a lot of hard work, a lot of people working together. To get these things to the point where they will come out in the daylight is no easy task. And then to film them is very, very difficult. They did this into a mirror, They took a lot of innovation, took a lot of time, patience, but you see what the result is. Go back to the altercation again. There we go. Here we go. Can you follow these guys? Now I've got this in a mirror inverted. I realized they took this into a mirror, so I flipped it. That's why you see the play word up there backwards, so that it would be the correct orientation looking into a mirror. Let me back it on up. I'm going to try a lot of different. I don't want to get too many lines in there. Well, do Sasquatch always get along? I'd say based upon this video, no, not always. I'll post this. I'll post the audio file. The audio file needs to be worked on and cleaned up. But I think this altercation is on there. Okay, here comes the big guy. Oh, he breaks it all up. They run scurrying away. They're gone.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. That is my understanding is that the lady told me, and I don't know how she got the information, that it wasn't from there, and it was from farther north, up in the Comanches, which mountain giant.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing
Some
we get up here. We
people,
occasionally go ahead.
people that see them know them. I mean, like your friend there that I met at the
Kevin.
conference, he knew what it
Yep.
was.
Yeah. Yeah, we get those reports from up here, and they're not at all common. They're rare, and maybe just like one per mountain range or something like that. But there are mountain ranges up here that the locals know there are giants in and tend to avoid them because of it. And, one of them is where Coloma's at. And was it May 2023, found a 31-inch track there. That was not a Bigfoot track.
31 inches. What do you guess would be the height?
16 and a half feet.
Wow.
And that's part of the track was washed out. It had rained furiously the night before, so most of the indents from the toes were gone. So the track could have been 33 inches, could have been a little bit longer. I just measured the part of it that was still visible. That was 31.
Oh, Don Monroe and I found some 20-inch tracks in the desert, Nevada.
Yeah, those are scary. We've shown them
Yeah.
previously. You guys can go back and watch that. And that's right over by Lovelock Cave.
Yeah, about a mile away from it.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Well, what does that tell you?
It tells me I don't want to go to Lovelock Cave. And this spring, when I was up in my main research area in the Sapphire Mountains, we found 26, well, actually two of them, 26-inch tracks. One of them was an older one that was going one direction, and then about 4 or 5 feet up above it, there was a newer track going the opposite direction. And yeah, imagine 26 inches. Plus, this thing wasn't thin; it was like really wide too. It probably across the ball, and I don't think we measured it, but probably wider than the length of Patty's foot at 15 inches. Tremendously wide track.
I would say that Patty, and you see her girth and everything, and those better images in the Patterson film. But she's not that incredibly tall.
No,
You know,
but she sure is massive.
I worked with a girl that was 6'5",
Mm-hmm.
but she wouldn't even come close to the width and the girth and the density. It was that Patty would make two of her.
Yeah, Patty is a brawny girl.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Very much so. We have another example of this from up here in Coloma. We found the big alpha male's track, 22 inches, and one of the littler ones had stepped across it. And their track was 15 inches, which is the same length as Patty's track. And it was just mind-boggling to look at the two, because you're looking at this little bitty track going, well, that's the size of Patty's track. And it looks like a kid stepped in their dad's footprint compared to the size of this giant one that had stepped across.
But it seems like that the larger that you find a track, and people find them down through the years, each one gets superseded by a larger one. You know, they seem to not have a maximum. That they just get bigger and bigger. You go up into those high peaks and those tall mountain ranges, and you find one up there. They're huge.
Scarily. Yeah, we postulate that the one that was leaving the 26-inch tracks up there is probably the same one that did that tree snap up there that was 18 feet up, and where the tree's still 1.5 feet, 2 feet thick. Because it was only about a mile away from where he found his tracks, actually. So, likely candidate. But yeah, getting back to the tire fight and the mountain giants, that was just an amazing piece of video. And as far as I know, they never got him on video again, did they?
I haven't seen it if they had. I had about 50 videos, 6-hour-long tapes.
Mm-hmm.
But this was over a number of years.
Right.
So it could have been, I could have missed it. You know,
damn it, MK.
If you just walk away or look away
for a second,
and it comes across, it don't take but a few seconds, and you know, it's easy to do. It's hard as a human being to stay in a concentrated mode. You know, where you're concentrating on analyzing, you know, the whole entire footage, and after a while, you get kind of.
Well, yeah, after that many hours.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for technology. There's an easy solution for this now. Get AI to watch it. If anything moves around, okay, isolate that section. Other than that, we'll ignore it. AI doesn't get tired, doesn't get drowsy, can pay attention forever. Just get that to do it.
Back to the DeRitter roadkill or the DeQuincy roadkill,
The devil
whichever
monkey.
it is. Whichever it
Yeah.
is. Are there more of them? I wouldn't doubt it. The reason why is because you have somewhere in the mix. You got maybe possibly some government intervention, and the government they don't want just one.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll work hard.
That-
Also, along Louisiana, along that southern tier, there's numerous primate labs. In Covington, Louisiana, there's a primate lab. So I mean, it's not that much different. It's not that far from each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? What are they doing with these primates? Are
Some
they,
Jurassic Park thing. Yeah, that's
they
why there was a meme out a long time ago that showed a wooden crate with a couple military guys guarding it, and the wooden crate had the words "battle monkeys" spray painted on it.
battle monkeys? Now, that's a deal.
So maybe they're breeding devil monkeys. They're using them for battle monkeys to just drop them off, and they cause mayhem wherever they drop them.
I don't want to deal with a battle monkey. I don't think.
No, it's an upgraded, some kind of baboon thing that they're making. Battle monkeys, probably just devil monkeys. They just enhanced them a bit. But interestingly, I was talking to Chad about this, and he said that as much cryptid activity as they have in his area, that devil monkey sightings there are very rare. There have been some, but it's almost unheard of. They're not in the area. They wander through it or something, maybe, but it's not like a regular thing.
All right, hold on here. I'm just gonna look at a map of where Covington is and just get a quick little estimate. Okay, Covington is okay. You would take a I-10 or 190 and go straight across through Baton Rouge to Covington. And now Covington's very close to Honey Island.
Home of the Honey Island swamp monster.
Yeah.
See, that whole area down there just seems like too dangerous to live in. I like it up here in the mountains where all we have to deal with is Bigfoot and grizzly bears.
Okay, you got a government, laboratory, primate laboratory, and you got a monster in Honey Island, and they're like this.
Uh-huh.
And then if you want to do the walk, you can make your way over there to DeRidder and find devil monkeys. That nobody around there is scratching their heads like this, looking at it.
Right. Well, you've been to the Honey Island swamp area, and you found the three-toed tracks. And interestingly, devil monkeys are supposed to leave three-toed tracks too.
Okay, well that explains something.
Could be related.
Could
be escaped battle monkeys. They like to field test their little projects.
You get over there pretty close to Honey Island, and that little jaunt across there to Baton Rouge, and it's a bridge there that seems to last forever. Water,
Been on it.
Little spits of land.
Yeah.
It's all swamp.
And if the bridge gives way, you're thinking, well, I'm doomed if this bridge gives way. There's no way I'll walk out of this freaking place.
Well, you don't want to have a car wreck and fly over the rail.
Mm-mm.
Nobody might not even come after you.
By the time they even find the wreck, it'll be all picked clean from escaped battle monkeys will have eaten you.
And then you're not that far as the crow flies from the ocean. So it's all when they say sportsman's paradise, maybe they should also include crypto paradise.
Crypto hunter's paradise. Well, yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
Crypto hunter's paradise.
pretty much true. The more I keep finding out about the area, the more I'm like, there's a lot of stuff going on in this one area. All kinds of different things, all really weird stuff going on.
And that Red River coming, it's the highway out of there.
That's our super highway. All right, well, we've just about hit the limit on how long we can go with this show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We sure have some amazing video to show you on this one. And again, if you are having problems getting my show, keep in mind Sunday at 8. It's on every time. If you want to actually get notified from YouTube, apparently there is a trick which will circumvent the algorithms and get them to actually notify you. Never mind the fact you're subscribed. Never mind the fact you got the all button clicked. They still don't bother to let you know. One thing that you can do is binge watch. You can run 3 or 4 of my shows back to back, whether you're actually sitting in the room watching them or not. They don't know. But that will tell the algorithms that, yes, you are serious. You do actually want to know when the show is on and have it sent to you. So there you go. Thanks again for being on the show, MK. Of course, we're going to have you on again in the future because it's way too much fun every time you're on.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I love to talk shop when it comes to things like this, and this is a great place to do it.
Well, thanks, buddy. That's probably why I enjoy calling you 3 or 4 times a week and just bugging you, going, "What's going on down there? Did you hear about this latest weird sighting?"
You know what? I'm starting to get nervous. Maybe I'm a little too close to Louisiana.
Yeah, that state's seeming kind of more dangerous all the time. It's not just the gators and stuff anymore. There's other problems there. Right on. Well, everybody, with that, I'm going to close out the show. Again, thank you so much for being on the show, MK. And thanks to everybody for watching the show. And you remember the usual rules, which includes, like don't pester devil monkeys and never, ever go kick a mountain giant. That would be a bad idea, too.
I'll keep that in mind.
Oh, and of course, it's always important to remember, don't hug the Wookiees.
Everyone, safety first, last, and always. Pay it forward. Don't be mean to people if you don't have to be. Don't flip off the mountain giant. Don't poke Dogman with a stick. Don't punt the puck, would you? And for God's sake, whatever you do not hug the Wookiee.